we're live. Cool. So we should be live on YouTube. If anyone's on the YouTube stream, you should be able to see this as well. But hi, everyone. Welcome to the Berklee Ableton User Group. We're super excited to have you here. It's a very special day. Wave hands if you want. We're currently, only 2 people are currently allowed to speak in this current meeting, but we're all very excited to be here. Thank you all for joining us. This is a celebratory time because as of yesterday, Ableton has announced the introduction or the release of Live 11. Yay! So Live 11, we're all very excited about it. This is the Berklee Ableton User Group. Like we said, we don't usually have, I guess, a regular meetup, but Rishabh and myself are both Ableton certified trainers, and we're also a part of the EPD faculty. We also have Brian Cass here. Hi, Brian. How's it going? He's also another awesome EPD professor. And yeah, so the 2 of us are going to share a little bit today about the new live release. But Rishabh, did you want to maybe say anything about yourself too as an introduction?
Hello. Well, my name is Rishabh. Yeah, I'm also a faculty at Berklee in the EPD department. I'm also an Ableton certified trainer. Yeah, I don't know. That's I'm going to show you a little bit some of the new features that I've enjoyed playing with in Live 11. So yeah, should be hopefully fun. And definitely feel free to throw in those questions in the chat. And if you want to say something, raise your hand. And yeah, Claire will allow you to speak.
Yeah, we will also do like Q&A throughout, either through the chat or at the end. We'll have a Q&A section too. So if you want to hang out and ask questions then, that's totally fine as well. But otherwise, everyone, maybe off the bat, if you've seen a feature of Live 11 that you've liked a lot, let us know in the chat. Let's do a quick poll. Maybe we can even start off. Rishabh, did you have a favorite feature like off the top of your head?
Yeah, my favorite thing I see is Sebastian. He said that, I'm guessing he's referring to me, that I'm the best. He said he's also the best teacher ever for 225.
Yeah!
That's EP 225.
Nice.
So yeah, that's Sebastian saying it, not me. All right. I'm just, I'm the messenger.
Yeah.
But comping, everybody loves comping. So maybe we should start with comping. And who better to talk about comping than the vocalist amongst the 2 of us? And we know who that is, the one with the better voice.
Yeah, no, we both have great voices. I feel like one of us has a really good vocoder voice that the other does have. But yeah, comping, I feel like maybe that was a good one to start off with. I think this was maybe, and people can disagree as well, but I think this is really pushing the new version of Live over and making it super, super competitive with, say,
I disagree.
Logic. Or
I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, no.
Just kidding.
No, debates are great. That's just why we do user groups, right? It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like it's the same across the board. But
Yeah. Well, I will say this. It's about time, because comping was in Logic, in 2013 when they introduced 10, or maybe before. Did Logic 9 have comping? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure. I'm actually not super sure. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I always I feel like when I think about comping, I kind of get that image of Logic's, the kind of border of that, and it's just so clear cut. You have that image in your head.
The take folder.
Totally. It's so easy to do anything that you need to combine between different tracks. And granted, some of the features in Live 11 for comping aren't super, super fleshed out yet. Like you can't say split up everything immediately into different audio tracks as easily as you could do in something like Logic or even in Pro Tools.
Yeah.
There are some aspects of the playlisting in
yes.
Pro Tools as well that I'm a big fan of too. But yeah, I totally agree. It's about time. So let's go ahead and get started over here, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen with everyone. We're going to take a look at a couple of new features today, as Rishabh and I both said. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about comping. So if you've checked out some of the Ableton website videos, or even on their YouTube channel as well, they have some really great examples there too. But essentially, if anyone here has used Logic or used Pro Tools before, then you should be pretty familiar, or you should be able to use the comping features in Live 11 pretty easily. But maybe let's take a step back. So for those of us who might not be super familiar with the idea of comping, what exactly is that? When we think about recording anything, so it could be audio, it could be MIDI, any kind of information that you might need to have several chances at recording. So let's say you want to create a really well put together version. You might have to record several different takes of that. And what a comp is a composite. So comp is short for composite. It means that you are choosing the best parts of each of the takes that you've done of a certain part, and you're able to combine that. And it used to be in Live, you have to do it in a lot of different ways, and you kind of jump through a few hoops. But now we have a much better workflow for it. So what I'm going to do here is start off by, I have a really quick loop that I put together. Let's go ahead and select time, and I'm pressing Command L on a Mac or Control L on a PC to loop this particular section. Before we even start recording some takes, let's just take a listen to what this sounds like so we all have a general idea. So I'm also just going to bring the volume down a little bit because I want to record some vocals over this entire section. It's a pretty simple 4-bar loop, but maybe we can use this as an opportunity to see the basics of comping and how that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from this locator that I have over here that's named number 1, and I'm going to record into this loop. I'm also going to make sure that I have my metronome on so that I have a little bit of a reference for time. And maybe we'll just arbitrarily start recording some vocal things. Maybe we'll start with numbers. That could be a cool place to start. And then we'll get into some proper melodic material. So here we go. Let's also move this Zoom window around. And if at any point in time you need, anyone's having trouble with like the audio, you need things to be louder, feel free to let me know. But here we go. Let's record some stuff. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and it's not going because my audio input is not good. Cool. Let's check this out. And this always happens with Zoom. Great. Cool. Let's turn that off because there's a lot of latency. So let's see how this goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm just going to start speaking a little bit freely. So this is the second loop that I'm recording over this right now. We're going to go into the third variation of this loop. So this is the third variation right now. I just moved my mug and I'm going to move it further away so that I don't spill my water. And we're going to start looping back again for the fourth round. This will be the last one that we do so that we can start taking a look at what exactly is happening. And here we go. Cool. So off the bat, we don't really see anything different, right? And if you look at it at first glance, this is actually how the normal loop recording stuff could work in live. What this lets you do is it lets you record audio or any kind of MIDI information too in a singular loop, and you'd be able to extend the loop to the left if you need to see all of the other audio that you've done. But in this case, in Live 11, we now have this new feature that's called Show Take Lanes. So if I right click on this track over here, there's an option that says Show Take Lanes. You can also use Command Option U to get there. And once you do that, Command Option U, you have your take lanes.
Also, so Claire, I'm going to interrupt you real quick here.
Yeah.
I discovered that if you're this, I may be wrong, but if you have the automation view enabled, I think the Show Take Lane section doesn't show up, right? Can you just double check that for me?
That is correct. Wow, that's so interesting. Wow.
Yeah, because I was like, where is this feature? I can't find it. Did they just remove it just for me? Then I realized that automation was enabled. So, I mean, the view was enabled. So hide the automation view and then you can see the comping take lane stuff.
Thank you, Rishabh. I think that actually, now that I think about it, that actually does make a little bit of sense, right? Because, I mean, if you were, like let's say if you were recording different kinds of takes, you would still be recording on the one track. If you wanted to have individual automation for each of the different takes, then they might as well be on different audio tracks, if that makes sense. Maybe that's why that happens. But thank you for the tip. That's true. If you right-click, there's another option here, which we'll also speak about later. But yeah, you do not get that option. So thank you. Yay. But now we're able to see all of these different parts. And we have all of these different takes. We have 5 because we did a little bit of an overlap at the beginning, right when I started recording. Each of these new lanes that you see here is one of the different loops that we did when we were doing the loop recording. So I can also go ahead and rename a couple of these. For example, this one has nothing in it, so I'll call this nothing. I'm using the tab button to go between the different takes. So here is the first round that I did. This was numbers. And then I have speaking 1, speaking 2, speaking 2, and speaking 3. So now each of these little speaker icons is going to let me listen to what is in each of these take lanes. So obviously nothing, I have nothing. But over here, when I've clicked on the speaker icon, I see that this is green. So I almost think about this as like the promoting thing in Pro Tools a little bit, but I'm able to now switch between the different takes. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the second loop that I'm recording. I don't spill my water. So right now, we're gonna go and here we go. Probably the last one though. So now we can hear all of these different things coming into play. I have all of these different layers. And if I want to start switching between the different parts of this and maybe make some comp, maybe make some interesting spoken word type of thing, I can use draw mode to do this very quickly. So pressing B, or I can also head over to the top right and press the little pencil icon, and I can highlight the different sections that I would like to promote to the top. I'm also just going to make sure that I don't have my speaker icon highlighted, so that way I can see the coloring a little bit better. So now I'm doing some interesting, maybe vocal. This is taking the definition of vocal chops to a different level. We'll see what this actually sounds like. But yeah, I'm also going to drop down the audio a little. And 2, 3, 4. And now I'm just going to start 2, 3. At what exactly? 2, 3, so that I don't spill my water. Over this right now. And 2, 3, 4. So that's a basic way of how this will work. I'm going to keep this because we might actually use it for one of the other live features. Thanks, Brian. Gold record.
Gold record.
Thank you. I think it sounds great. If anyone wants a copy of this, let me know after. I'd be happy to share it. It's kind of cool. But yeah, let's try this again, maybe with some other melodic material instead. I'm also going to copy over the vocal effects chain that I had, which was really just EQ and compressor. And we can speak more about some effects organization later. But let's try this out. And let's maybe also think of something melodic. Ooh, John had a question. Are you able to color the individual takes? That's a great question. Let's check that out. The answer is, let's see. Let's also get out of draw mode. If I right click, maybe not the individual track itself, but the clip, indeed we can. Boom, so now that's blue. Maybe this next tick should be pink. Maybe this third one should be purple. And maybe this last one over here should be yellow. So
but I noticed that, it's because you've already promoted those segments to the main take, it doesn't retain the color.
Absolutely.
So you got to change the color before you promote it. Yeah.
Totally. I think that is consistent with how a lot of clips work in live though. Like the idea of coloring a certain clip and then having it be completely independent from another copy of the same clip. So yeah, we would then have to kind of, I guess, go back into draw mode again. Where's my pen?
Do it again, yeah.
Yeah, and then like do that again. Let's see if it works this time. Yeah, it does. Great.
Also, you can just color it after the fact, right? On the main track.
I think you would be able to, like, let's say if you wanted this to be, as in color it on the main track, you mean like right-clicking?
Yeah, like that, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That could also be a possibility. I mean, if you didn't want it to all be the same color, though, then the Live 10 feature to go for would probably be assign track color to clips. So, like, if we say that this is like the winning take, and it should be in white, then now everything is in white, like after that.
Nice,
so,
that's helpful.
Yeah, totally. So, but I like the colors though. It makes me happy. Let's keep that.
Yeah, colors are good. Fade. Before you move on, Claire, fades. You want to talk about fades between those individual edits?
Let's see what's happening. And actually, this is a trick. So usually it does auto fade, but there is a way that you can disable that, which I have done. So you will be able to fade between these different parts. That's a great question. I believe if you, Rishabh, do you actually remember the exact millisecond number? I forget.
No, I don't.
I think it's 4. I think it's 4, but we'll have to check on that. I think it is. I remember someone mentioning it before. I think it is 4. If you do set up the fades, but yes, you do have the option to do that in your preferences. It kind of depends a little bit on how you do it. For a number of reasons, I personally don't like automatic fades because I'm a control freak, as you know from everybody from me muting everyone in the chat. But are you the same, Rishabh? Like the fades thing? Yeah,
I don't like auto fades, auto warp, so I turn off all those features. And also, once you've created these or this comp, you can always go in and add fades, right? So she can add fades in any of those clips if you can quickly show a little fade in between, crossfade type thing.
Maybe it's a little bit of also because whenever you do auto fades, and I guess in the context of, maybe we'll see this more when I do the vocal demo like right after this, but sometimes when you do auto fades, if you have very slight timing differences and if the fades are too long, like maybe even 4 milliseconds is too long, you will get some strange phasing that might occur if you have multiple signals. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I also try to not let live be smart for me.
We have another question. This one's from Flo. He's asking, can you add fades to multiple regions at the same time? Ooh, so I'm guessing you have all these individual clips. You don't want to do it in one by one. You just want to maybe like select all of them and then just put a crossfade on all of them.
Let's see.
Is that possible?
Let's try it manually. Let's do it two ways. We'll do the manual version first. So let's select all the clips. And I'm going to try crossfading between these two. No, unfortunately, it does not do that way. But let's try one more. If I select all of these, and if I press Command Option F, yes. So you're going to use the keyboard shortcut for that. So Command Option F is going to be your friend, or Control Alt F if anyone's on a PC. But yeah, fades. I don't know. Then maybe these are the ones that are like the 4 millisecond ones.
That's the auto one, yeah.
Yeah, maybe these would be the ones. That would be cool to explore like after this. But also, I just want to keep going. So okay, cool. Yeah. Let's do the audio super quickly. Here we go. And we'll stop there. But yeah, let's just check that everything works. Show take lanes. Yeah, absolutely. So now we can go ahead and let's color each of these. Let's do doop. Let's do boop, and let's do that. Great. So now let us also promote a few of these. Maybe the first one, this one, maybe this last one. It's kind of nice. And yeah. And for this last bit over here, you will notice that it kind of like popped out at the end as well. So let's go ahead and pull this out. I'm going to hold down Command so I can just temporarily disable the grid lines and pull that out a little bit. There's my comp. And then we'll do the thing that Flo mentioned just now. Let us do auto fades. Boom.
Yay.
Comp. Yeah, cool.
Nice.
So that's the comping stuff. And yeah, Rishabh, I'd like to throw it on to you. We wanted to go like back and forth.
Actually, there's another. Are you able to record additional takes? Like once you have already added, can we add a fourth one? Just say you realize, guess what? I want to do a fourth
that's
take.
That's a great
or
question.
A fifth.
I have a feeling that it is possible because check this out. And the first thing that we did, remember that nothing take that I did? It stayed here, even after I re-recorded on. But that's a great question. Let's go ahead and try that out. So let's see what we get. Let's even try from the start. Here we go. So this is our magic take number 5. Let's just see what happens to this one after it goes over. Cool. So obviously the new comp is gone, but does it show up? It does. Yeah. So you can kind of like layer on takes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yay,
yeah, that's helpful.
Super helpful. Cool. So I'm gonna stop sharing, but Rishabh, if you wanna take over.
So yeah, sure. Thank you. So I was thinking, if you're like me, not a vocalist, and you're thinking, what am I going to do with this take comping feature? There is something you can do with it. I'm going to give you an example of that. So I have this session. This is an old track I worked on a couple of maybe months ago. What I did was I have this guitar part here. It's already recorded. And then actually I should stop sharing this. I want to share with you. You may have heard of this technology/website that Google built. It's called Tone Transfer. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's basically using artificial intelligence or machine learning to kind of recreate a melodic phrase based on whatever input you give it. So let's say I give it a custom recording, and it will recreate that recording with custom instruments, preset instruments. So you have flute, saxophone, trumpet, and violin. So check out Andrew Huang or Adam Neely. These are popular YouTubers. They've talked about this technology in detail. So I did this. I took my guitar part, I brought it in here, and I created these other, sounds from it. And I decided I'm going to put these back in to my track and create this take folder, right? So I have all these take lanes. So you can create take lanes even though you do not have, you're not recording, right? You can just right click and say just create a take lane and just drop any recording in there. So that's what I did. So that's the original guitar part. I'll just solo it. The rest of the arrangement. Now it's supposed to only work with monophonic instruments, and clearly I'm playing more than one note at a time, but that's fine. It'll still work. So I have 4 copies of this. So now what I want is I want to jump between different sounds. So I'll use that B feature with the pencil tool and just randomly just pick, not even thinking about phrases. The grid is off, just randomly picking things just to kind of mix between all these 5 different instruments. So it's guitar, then it's flute, then it's saxophone, then it's trumpet, then it's violin. It's like randomly swapping out like that. So let's hear that. And that is so awesome. I totally wasn't expecting it to sound that good, but
sounds amazing.
So yeah, so that's there you go. That's another use of this feature. What else? Shall we move on from that? Do we have any other questions about takes? We spent a lot of time on takes. Should we do something else?
Yeah, we can move on to something else. Oh, actually,
okay.
Rishabh, would you be able to do the link track editing stuff?
Link track. Oh, actually, I can do that here. I haven't explored it too much, but you're going back in here. So the idea is you have multiple tracks. So let's say here I have these 2 ukulele tracks. I want to make an edit here, and I want the second mic to also be edited at the same time. So I can link these 2 tracks. Right? So you can select multiple tracks, right-click, and choose link tracks. And now when I make any selection on one, it's automatically selecting the bottom one. And by the way, these links can also be non-contiguous tracks. It does not have to be sitting right next to each other. I can even randomly link. I don't know. I think so. Let's try it. Can I hold down? Is it Shift or Command? Link track. So there you go. Holding down Command, I believe. So now I've linked these 2 tracks, the 2 ukulele tracks, along with this. I guess that's a drum kit. So if I make a selection here, it's also selecting the ukulele. It's also selecting the second ukulele. If I make an edit here, Command E, it's also editing these. Right now, one's a MIDI track and the other is an audio. So if I put fades here, obviously there are not going to be any fades here, but the other audio track has fades. Yeah. So yeah, linking. Again, I think this has been in Pro Tools for maybe more than 10 years. And also in Logic. So it's nice that we have something like this, especially for multi-track recording. So if you're doing stuff like that, very helpful to have this feature.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot, especially about like the bane of my existence is like just drum editing. This is gonna help so much with that. And yeah, like Maya just wrote in the chat, vocal stacks, totally.
Yeah, vocal stacks, harmonies, and you want them to be aligned when you're moving things around, copying things around. So this helps. Does the linking apply to solo, mute, and other parameters? I don't know. Let's find out. No, it does not. Yeah, so it's not like group linking like in Pro Tools. It's just edit linking. So yeah, sorry. Unfortunately, no. Yeah, I want to show a feature that no one has talked about. I was playing around with it earlier, and Claire also found it kind of funny. It's something new with video. So, for me, that's the best feature in live. It's still in beta, and it's officially not in this beta. There was some issues, so it's not. It will be back eventually, but I just want to show you because I have a slightly older beta. So let's check it out. So what can we do with the video now? So you could always work with video in Ableton Live 10.9. You can drag in a video, you can do scoring and all that stuff. But now you can have video in session view. Right, so here we're looking at session view, and I just took this one video and I split it up into different sections. You can see over here, if I just move the video away. So these are the different segments of the video. I just duplicated it and selected different portions of the video. And now just like launching clips in session view, you can launch video in session view. So what I did was I MIDI mapped, let me hide all these windows. So if I click on MIDI here, I've MIDI mapped all these clips to a bunch of different MIDI notes on my controller here. And I turned off launch quantization so I can freely just trigger any of these clips. And just to give you a quick demo of this, you may have seen this video.
Strike and strike and strike and
So that's me tapping one key on my controller.
strike and
So that's one clip. I'll tap another key.
sound of a
So I can do this.
strike and sound of a shouting victory, 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 sound of a strike and strike, victory, 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 sound of a strike,
Yeah, I could go on for like a day just doing that because so much fun just to
So
watch that
awesome.
lady jump around like that. But yeah, this is a cool feature. It should be available soon. So yeah, playing or performing with video in session view.
Totally.
Claire, you have something else?
Yeah, actually, Brian just mentioned either of us could, I think, talk about this next one, but probability.
Ooh, probability. Do you have something you wanna
Yeah,
show?
I could kind of go with it. Let's see if I can pull
Yeah.
something up. There's tons of like ways that you could demonstrate this. I'm trying to think of how we can talk about this, but let's see. Yeah, so no longer need to use like Max for Live devices, but I also just saw someone said meme game exploded. Yeah, totally.
for the video thing.
Yeah. So this is actually, let's see, don't save that. So this is something that I will be actually sharing about tomorrow. Also, I'll be presenting at the New York City Ableton User Group if anyone wants to tag along. That's also virtual, obviously, so you don't have to be in New York City to participate. But one thing that I wanted to experiment a little bit with preliminarily, as far as probability goes, was the idea of when certain notes come in or when they don't come in based on like a chance type of situation. Whoa, no. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, panic. I always have that sometimes. But over here I've got this loop that I've set up, and let's just take a listen to what this sounds like individually on its own. It's also got MPE stuff.
Nice.
CPU going crazy.
Ooh, CPU is clicking.
I was like, this is like, I think everything here is wavetable just because it's like the only MP synth in live at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But over here, as far as probability goes, we have a couple of ways that we can affect the probability of an event in live, in Live 11. There's either note probability or there's velocity probability. So what this means for note probability is when a certain note will come in or not. And that's something that's managed over here in the lower section. Probability. So check this out. Between these two different clips, the notes are actually the same. They are in a different octave, I will say that, but the probability is different. So in this second clip that I have over here, this purple one, notice how the probability of all of these notes in the lower part is all bumped up all the way to 100. This means there is always 100% chance that they will be played. So that's why when I play this clip back, we always hear every note. So every single note is playing every time I'm playing this particular section. But with this first one, notice how the probabilities are kind of all over the place. For example, this note, the probability, check out what's happening at the lower left of live, everyone. I get a lot of information. I know that this note that I'm selecting is E4. It is all the way on the bottom left. Velocity is 54. Probability is 60%. So if I drag this up and down, I can see the probability of this change. So now let's lower the probability of this one. Let's make it maybe like 32%. And I'm going to play through this a few times. Each time this is going to sound different. So here we go. Let's throw in some bass for context. So let's actually move this here. Let's do this instead. So it's still the same overall melodic idea, but we're kind of like hocketing the parts around a little bit. So we're adding subtle variations, making things a little bit more interesting. So that's one of the probability things. The other probability thing is velocity probability. So let's actually use one of the more fleshed out clips for this example. So with velocity probability, it's a little bit different. Instead of just the overall probability of whether the note plays or not, we're able to control the probability that a certain velocity kind of happens in a range and also randomize that to too. So there's a couple of different things going on at the moment. What I'm doing now is I'm holding down Command, and with each of these notes, I'm kind of like shifting the velocity range around a little bit. I can also randomize these a little too. So let me just show you this. Let's just do a super quick example. Maybe we'll do even half of the time of this. Boop. Let's bump that up. And switch a few of these. Maybe let's go down. Let's go in the opposite direction. Ooh, there we go. Move all of these. Okay, shift both of these up. Shift these two down. Great. So now I can further zoom out and let's randomize all of these some more. So selecting all of these and boop. Random. Yes, there is. Is there a randomized feature for probability? Yes, there is. So if we click on this part over here, if we select all of the probabilities, let's randomize that too. Boom. We can also randomize the probabilities based on a percentage. So let's say I only want it to be like 50% random, whatever that might mean. Let's control this a little bit more. And the deviation, let's maybe make it even more subtle. Let's do like 20-something%. If we randomize this, yes, it is still randomized, but it's a lot more controlled. So it gives you a little bit of that subtlety. So let's take a listen and see how this goes now. And it definitely sounds different from our original, which was just every note playing all together. So yeah, you can do some interesting things with probability stuff. Lots of different things that you can do with it. You can add variation. If you're big into like the gen stuff, maybe this is a little more along that vein too, potentially. Some exciting things also that you can combine with, I think, follow actions, but maybe I'm jumping a little bit too far ahead. So we had a couple of questions about MPE stuff. So Rishabh, do you want to maybe take over and do like some MPE stuff? And I can also talk about some MPE stuff too.
Okay, sure. So Claire's going to do the full-on performance MPE side of things with the controllers and stuff. So what I'm going to show you is a very simple aspect of MPE. So let's say if you're new to this whole MPE world and you don't have these fancy MPE controllers, you can still make use of MPE. So I just want to give you a quick example of that. Yeah, this was the probability thing that Claire was showing earlier. So what we get, one of the things that we get with MPE is that for every note, you have pitch bend capabilities, right? So let's say you play a chord. On a regular MIDI controller, when you play a chord, a C major triad, let's say, you bend the pitch bend wheel up or down, the entire chord moves up or down. But with MPE, you can pitch bend individual notes, right? That's why you need a specific kind of a controller to generate that kind of messages. But you can always edit it. So what I did here, spend some time on this, but just to give you a demonstration of what's possible with MPE, they have a separate tab for it. They call it was it called the expression?
Note expression, yeah.
No, note expression, right? So note expression, and aside from pitch, you get a bunch of other things that you can control individually for each note. But here, let's say I'll zoom in here a little bit. So when I select a particular note, you see this line here. This represents the pitch bend for that note. I select a different note. That's the line for that particular note. So let me just play this example over here. So I have a bunch of different notes. Just go back to normal view. These are all the different notes. And I've kind of randomly changed the pitch for each note. What would this sound like if we play this? So that, if you're an EPD student, you'll know that's the deep note sound effect, the THX deep note. Yeah, right. So much easier to create it now. But yeah, so the idea is, let me do a quick demonstration. So you have a note, you just add an individual note. Let's go to the regular view. So I have this note here. I'm just gonna legato it. Where's legato? They moved it here. So I have this note here. I'm going to note expression, and now there's a line on that note, right? So you click on it, you can move it up or down. My grid is off, so it's freely, letting me adjust it. But if I hold down, while the grid is off, if I hold down Command, I can snap it to, whole number values. So I can bend it to exactly 15 semitones at the third beat. But if you use the pen tool or the draw tool, you can just draw it, right? So that's how you get those squiggly lines. So it's kind of randomly kind of wobbling away up to that particular pitch. So that's a really helpful feature. So, and that's for every note. So if I go in back to the regular view, add in another note, let's extend that as well. So now I have two different notes, and this note right now has no pitch bend, but I can do a separate pitch bend. Maybe this one is a bit more controlled. It only bends downwards like this. So right now in this clip, I have two notes and they both individually bend their notes. So let's have a listen to this. I may have to adjust the filter frequency. So that's a really silly example, but hopefully that makes sense. So that's just editing the pitch bend data for individual notes, which is part of the MPE protocol. Claire is going to give you a more detailed version of this where you want to generate it with specific controllers.
Yeah.
Claire,
Rishabh,
what are you going to
actually,
show us?
Super quickly, Rishabh, would you mind holding down the Option key and curving that, please?
Oh, yes, you can even curve lines, yeah. Hold on Option, curve a
For
line.
Brian.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Brian. Yeah.
Was there a question about that? Option key for curve?
That was Brian.
So, and that's for every line in Ableton Live. Right? Whenever you draw a line in Automation View or any other view for MIDI CCs, you can create lines. And this pitch bend is independent from your normal pitch bend. You can still go into your regular, where is that? Is it here? The envelopes view. You can click over here, go to MIDI control, and there's pitch bend. And I can still do overall pitch bend. So the entire, the entire chord will be pitch bent upwards or downwards. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so Claire, you want to do the performance side of things?
Yeah, sure. Too.
What do you have? Which controller are you going to use?
Ooh, I'm going to actually use push for this, everyone. But, John, a question. CPU metering, is it possible to display individual track CPU usage now? Let's see and find out. I was super excited about this, too, so happy to speak about it. Let's check out some CPU metering stuff, everyone. So probably the best part about the CPU stuff, at least one of the best parts I find, is this feature over here at the bottom. Check this out. There's like this tiny thing that you pop out. Each of these is their own individual CPU meter. So if I launch a scene, let's choose a more busy one. Let's choose one that kind of has most stuff over here. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Let's also just mute some open inputs. So each of these is an individual CPU load meter. This is really useful, especially if, I know we have a couple of live performers in the house over here. If you're ever in a live performance setting and you are struggling with something that, say, is, super overloaded, or if anyone is as big a Serum fan as I am for anything except its CPU usage, you know exactly what to turn off. But that's cool though, because not CPU, Serum is an MPE enabled synth too. But maybe just kind of going back to a little bit of Live's roots, let's take a look at some MPE enabled features. Let's even take a step back before that. What is MPE? So MPE stands for multidimensional polyphonic expression, like Rishabh mentioned, and essentially for a lot of previous for the previous version of Live 10, you wouldn't be able to implement MP in a very smooth sort of way. So if anyone's ever used, say, Equator before, which is commonly used with a lot of Roly controllers, you would have to have 16 different MIDI tracks up to be able to use MPE. I see some nods and sad looks. So we've all kind of experienced that before. Now you just need the one, which is awesome. You don't need 16 of those all up at the same time. And we also have some devices within Live itself that are MPE integrated too. Maya's, that's why I also had to use Logic for it too. That's why I ended up using Bitwig a lot for that as well. Yay, Bitwig! Sorry, I know this is an Ableton event. Sorry to the Ableton people. But yeah, it's now in Live. And we're also able to do this with push. So let's go ahead and take a look at in more closely. Let's take a look at the bass sound that I have over here. Let's listen to this before we take a look at anything. Or maybe we can even take a look at stuff first. But let's listen to what this clip sounds like. Cool. So everyone hopefully was able to hear that filter cutoff modulating a little bit. There's only one note playing in this though. It's just the one E. So what's going on? Pressure. Cool. So we're going to take a pause right there and let's take a look at what's going on push over here. So I have this up. I've got my sound. Got a slightly slower filter off. Let's go into a lower octave though, because that's where I was doing a lot of the bass stuff. What I've set up here on push is to be able to control the cutoff of, and also the wavetable position, I think, depending on what I did just now, with pressure. And by pulling up the note expression tab in the detail view now, I can see exactly what note pressure things I did with these. So if let's just listen to this one first. So that's how I was doing all of those different cutoff filter gestures while only holding down one note when I was recording this in. And I think I also did apply it to different notes too. Yeah, these are all different notes. This one was the one note. And if I take a look over here in the instrument itself, Wavetable now has a fourth tab that you can use to control its modulation matrix in. Previously, only at 3, it only had mod sources, the matrix, MIDI stuff for any kind of MIDI information you want it to do. Now MPE lets you control MPE data using this. And on push, you've also got a specific function that will let you do the same thing. Let's see if this works. Oh no, the camera still does not work. But when you're on push, if you set push up in a mode that is called poly mode, it's going to let you do polyphonic aftertouch things, polyphonic pressure, and that is what lets you control the notes independently. So let's find another instance of Wavetable. I think I had one more over here that would let me also do some things. Ah, yes, cool. So this thing, let's see, solo that track. Great. So this is a better example because this is going to let me do chords. The bass track will only let me play one note at a time because it was set to mono mode. But now if I play a chord, let's do like a major chord or minor. Whoops. So you can hear that I'm applying different amounts of pressure to each of the individual notes, and they're all changing differently because of that. So here is one of them getting a little bit more bright, and then here's the bottom note. And each of these would show up independently in the MIDI over here. So I recorded in some clips as well. Let's take a listen to what these might potentially sound like. And of course, like Rishabh mentioned, you can always click on each of these and fine-tune them if you want it to. On similar to a lot of breakpoints, I think a good comparison to think about note expression editing is it's very much like automation. So you would be able to do a lot of the things that you can do with normal automation stuff in Live 10 and previous versions of Live. But let's also take a little bit of a closer look at how exactly to do this, because I kind of skipped a little ahead of myself. The way that you would assign any kind of MPE data is really just through the matrix. So if we head over here to the right hand side and we take a look at the fourth tab that says MPE, all you need to do is select any parameter that you want in a particular instrument. So let's say Wavetable over here, and then you would assign whatever this parameter is to the matrix stuff. So let's see, let's do oscillator 1 position. You can kind of see how I've got that all the way up for pressure. So now when I press on this note, this is going to, let's also bring this original parameter down. I'm going to start off here at the bottom of the wavetable, and the more I press, I'm scrolling through the wavetable. Same thing's also happening for frequency. You can also see filter frequency 1 is moving that way too. So the higher this number is in the matrix, the more that particular MPE parameter is going to control whatever you want it to control and assign it to. Which voice does the device display prioritize? That's a great question, Brian. I think it's last edited or last affected. Let's try that out. So if I have, let's make this a little louder too. Let's start off with just like 2 voices. Maybe that'll be the easiest to see. So let's do a fifth. So it seems that it's upper voice. Oh no, it's a last touch. It is last touch. Ah, okay, cool. So it is the last touched voice that's being displayed. That would be interesting.
Nice.
I'm actually not sure how. I guess visual, the coolest voice. Yeah, the coolest voice, Brian. Yeah, now that I think about it, I'm not sure how you would actually be able to see like all of the voices. Like, let's say if I were using like
15 notes.
15, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's it's not showing up. But I guess that also makes sense because if you check this out in the matrix over here, like with velocity, note, pitch, bend, slide, and pressure, you also get a visual representation of the current value of whatever you're doing. So if pressure is over here, you can see that at this like little slider below pressure, that's the extent to which the pressure is coming in, the pressure data. So if I have another note added, it's going to reflect that as well. So I think this, whatever
It's going
shows
to be a
up,
mix of both then.
yeah, I think whatever shows up visually is whatever value is showing up over here in this meter. I think that's what might be happening. But who knows? Maybe if anyone from the Ableton team is watching, let us know, because they're always lurking around. So yeah, MPE.
Now, just to clarify, so we're looking at 4 MPE parameters: velocity, note, pitch, bend, slide, which I believe is CC74, pressure, which sounds like polyphonic aftertouch.
Actually,
I think
was it 74? I may be wrong. I can't remember the exact CC number, but I'm not sure if it's 74.
It's not 74. It's some
I'm
other.
not
Okay,
sure.
some
I
CC.
might be wrong. I think it's 75, but I think because portamento, right? But I'm not sure.
74 is
confirm
brightness.
that. Oh,
so I
thank
would
you,
think
Brian.
that Brian
Oh,
says it's 74.
He confirms
Maybe, I
it's
don't know.
74. Thank you.
Let's
Oh wait,
get 74.
Maya
Okay,
says
cool.
72.
Let's go with 72 then. Yeah, per Rolly. I know this because I've played around with the Rolly stuff, and it is
Yeah.
74. And those guys kind of pioneered this whole MPE stuff, but it may be different in live. Now we're using you're using a controller that is unfortunately can only make use of pressure polyphonically, right? You can't do pitch bend polyphonically with that
That is
controller
correct.
or
Yeah.
slide.
That's because if in the latest, so everyone, if you do get the Live 11 beta, you will be asked to update the firmware of Push, and in that update, oh whoops, I just knocked something. In that update, that only has poly pressure at the moment. I can't actually think of. I'm not sure if it would be possible to even implement something like, say, note pitch bend at least. Like I can think of it visually happening on something like the C board or even the Morph that I have over here. Like this is another controller by Sensel that could also work a little bit more flexibly because you have positional stuff. This is their Buchla overlay for Buchla fans. But yeah, I'm not sure if Push would ever be able to implement, say, note pitch bend. I'd be super interested to figure out how that could be done.
Yeah, that would be interesting
per
because they
note
don't have
basis.
they have like separate
Yeah.
buttons for each note as
Like you-
opposed to, let's say, the Rolly, it's like one continuous,
Yeah.
layer for all the notes.
Totally.
And same, I guess, for your Sensel Morph as well.
Yeah. Like,
But
because
yeah,
for
really
this
cool
one,
stuff.
like you said, the separations, like each of them is their individual thing. So you can't
Hmm.
like, I don't sorry, bad attempt.
Okay, now I have a
at
question. So this is great. MPE is great, and it's great that Wavetable has this. But we know that Ableton Live is not just Wavetable, right? Ableton Live has about, 15 different instruments. So how many of Ableton's instruments have support for MPE?
Totally.
Do you know?
I think, I'm not sure about, I think it's 2 instruments and 1 device. And the
Two.
2 instruments are, sorry.
Great.
The 2
Two.
instruments.
We get 2. All right.
The 2 instruments are, I believe, it's Wavetable and Sampler. So not Simpler, but Sampler. And then the 1 device is Arpeggiator. But let's confirm that. Let's take a look. So over here in the updated version of Wavetable, there's this tiny thing on the top right that says MPE. Let's go ahead and find just like a default sampler from instruments, and let's pull it into like the empty space so that it just appears on a new MIDI track. Yeah, MPE. And let's try electric. This isn't like a different an MPE device, but it has a new interface that looks really pretty. Yeah, check that out. Got the Ooh, nice.
This looks good, but unfortunately no MPE. I went through all these
Yeah.
instruments and I checked, but there's only 2, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think.
But maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future. Let's check the arpeggiator though. I do recall seeing
That one does, yeah.
Has
I think right click on the there, and
I thought it did though.
maybe it doesn't.
Wow,
So
I guess
it is just 2 then.
Well, maybe it'll appear in a subsequent beta version of this, because I mean this is only like beta number. I'm on 18. You're on 17, I think. And
Yeah.
then the public one, the first public one will be 19. So yeah, more to come, definitely. Cool.
But this is awesome stuff. Are there any other questions from
Yeah.
folks?
Or were there any
look at
features
it.
that, because there are like tons of features in Live 11, was this something that we didn't talk about yet that you would like to find out about, and hopefully we'll be able to find out about soon?
I actually follow actions. There you go. Yeah, I was thinking about follow actions. So Claire, can you show us follow actions? And I
Yeah,
had
totally.
a question regarding follow actions. So before you start, I was trying this out the other day with another class, and I realized that it wasn't working. So if you've ever played with follow actions, this is from Live 10 and prior. You could type in a BPM value or a time signature in the master scene, and that particular scene will change to that
Yeah.
BPM and time signature. Does that still work?
Yes, that still works. So if you click on the master track and you drag out to the left, that's where you're going to be. So
there
let's
it
make
is.
our, yeah. So now it's all per scene. So just to put everyone on the same page, Rishabh, would you like to maybe suggest 2 different BPMs?
Sure. Let's do 140 and
Cool.
let's do 82.
140 and 82. Cool. So let's see what happens when we launch these 2 scenes now. You might also notice that the launch triangles have lit up in blue now. So here we've got drums. Let's also do this from push. Like, let's use the controller. Here we go. There's drums A. And also because we don't have that track soloed. Cool. Here we go. Ooh, I also have the follow actions going. So. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so
that's-
Brian was asking, which I discovered, unfortunately, the old way does not work. Before, the old way was you type in a BPM and just write in BPM. That doesn't work anymore. So you have
Oh,
to
wait,
use
really?
this fixed feature.
Let's see, actually.
Try
Yeah.
it. Maybe, I don't
Oh,
know if it's
wow.
fixed
I
in
don't
the
know.
newer beta.
I have no idea either. So let's see. Also, I think the original tempo of this was 100. Let's try. Let's do drums A 150 BPM. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't.
It doesn't turn blue
Wow.
and it doesn't work.
BPM. Yeah.
We did a
not
lot of
CPM,
projects.
sorry. BPM. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah,
That's sad.
and same for the signature. It doesn't work
Oh,
for
no.
typing in signature as well.
No.
But as long as you're using that other section, when you pull out the master track, you can just
Yeah.
it's no longer a hidden feature, I feel. Well, it's kind of hidden because you have to pull that out, but at least you can see it. You don't have to like type in something, which if
Yeah.
and if you did not know about that, you wouldn't know.
Totally. Or actually, I'm not sure if I mean, I don't know if this would be that sophisticated, but I haven't tried opening up an old project with BPM changes in Live 11.
I
So
did, and
maybe-
it didn't
oh,
work.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rishabh. No. Brian, we'll make a script to translate. Yeah, Live 10 scene names. Anything before. There's always, I mean, compatibility is always such a huge thing.
Yeah.
Even with like the follow actions thing. So maybe let's head back into the follow actions part. But everyone, what's happening over here is I have these 4 drum clips set up in a way that when I launch one of them, and you also notice that their little triangles in session view are now striped, so they're super fancy. These striped buttons, anything that's striped means that that particular clip has a follow action assigned to it. So for these 4 clips that I did over here, I've set this up in detail view, where each of them has a follow action that is a 50% chance of either playing the previous clip or a 50% chance of playing the next clip. And actually, let's just, because I'm OCD, it says 51 and 49. I need to make it 50. Okay, there we go. Now it has a 50% chance of playing either the first clip or the next clip. So even if I launch this from push, it'll launch a clip, and then the clip that will immediately play after that will start flashing in green. So let's go. So it's going to play previous. Now it's going to play the next clip. Going to play the next clip, which was the first clip in the group. Playing previous now. Next. And next again. So there's always some kind of chance that you can kind of toggle between, and if you want to change multiple clips at once, you can always make this change over here. So let's actually type in 50. And now maybe we'll even set follow actions up. Let's do, ooh, this one's a good one. Like, so from this drums D clip that I have over here, this one, I think after I play this particular clip, I would always like it to jump to a specific clip in a specific scene. So I'm going to change this clip's follow action to, instead of 50-50, I'm going to make it 100% jump to the drum clip that is in the outro, which you can see is scene number 11. So I'm going to type in 11 over here. Let's press enter. Now, every time I launch the drums clip, drums D, it's going to always jump to the outro clip. So here we go. There's our outro.
Now jump is new, right? We didn't have jump before.
Yeah, jump is new. Jump is new. So that's going to be really useful. It could be like after you improvise over this set of clips, then maybe there's like a specific clip that you want to always kind of take you into the chorus maybe, then that could be a good opportunity to use that. So yeah.
And Brian says no more beat counting.
No more beat counting. Yeah, I guess, I mean, it solves a lot of things because you can also do, things related to the, Rishabh and I were talking about this multiplying, the follow action multiplier, which sets the number of loops that the clip will play before you have a follow action come into place. So that could also be something to explore as well, like 8 times and then jump to the follow action. So lots of cool like live performance things.
Yeah, this is great for live performance. Good stuff here.
Was that it for oh no, and then of course you can always like enable and disable follow actions. So you can, if you want to temporarily stop all the follow actions, there's this button over here in the master track that you can toggle on and off to say whether you have a follow action or not. So now if it's grayed out, all the follow actions are off. So the moment we, and let's also put this back here. So it'll just loop as it is, but when you have it on, that's when the clips will start doing their thing. Cool.
So if you re-trigger a clip while follow action is off, it's just going to not do the follow action, right?
Yeah, so you need to relaunch the clip when you've turned on follow actions to be able to re-trigger the enabling
To re-trigger
of follow actions.
yeah. So it won't be like I turn on follow action and suddenly all my clips are like running around. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's actually,
You're going to need to
I feel
relaunch
like
it.
It might be safer that way actually, because like if you accidentally press on that and suddenly everything's re-enabled, it'll just all start going. But yeah, that's a
Oh, do you want to show us the master, the scene follow action? Because I think that's also new, right? So now you can have follow actions in the master.
So check this out, everyone. If let's say like we wanted to do a super fixed form, there used to be a dedicated Max for Life device, I think made by Isotonic Studios. Hi, Isotonic Studios friends, called Follow Scene. But now we have follow actions for scene. So after my chorus, maybe every time after my chorus, I always want to go to the break. So I'm going to do follow action, and it's going to, let's jump specifically to the break, which is scene number 5. You could also do play next because scene 5 is after scene 4. So here is scene number 4, the chorus. And it's going to play after that. And obviously now I'm not playing that. So here we go. The reason why I did that also is because remember, whenever you're setting follow actions, you can also specify the follow action time. So let's set this to, instead of being 1 bar, let's set it to 4 bars. And this may be a little better. Here we go. Here's our chorus again. And things are off. Oh my goodness. Let's try this one more time. Oh. Yes, cool. It's because I changed the follow action. Did I change the wrong thing? No? Let's stop all clips and see what we get. No.
It's not doing it?
What's the culprit? Ah, this one.
Oh, there you go.
This one is out of tune. I'm curious to know why. That's okay. Let's temporarily mute this and let's see if it still works.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice. It works.
Yeah, it's the MPE culprit. So we'll figure out what happens over there. But yeah, follow scenes. Cool stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What else?
Let's see. Oh, someone just now mentioned hybrid reverb. Would you be able to speak about that one, Rishabh?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I can do that.
Also,
so
we are closing in on the time, so maybe we'll just do like a few more things and take extra questions at the end or something.
Sure, we could do that. Let's see. Do I have session open here? So yeah, it's a reverb plugin, right? So that's great. We already have a reverb in Ableton Live. We have a algorithmic reverb by default. This one here, classic reverb. We also have a convolution reverb in Max for Live, but now we have a hybrid that does both. So I'm just going to drop it on this vocal track here. I'll solo it. Just a solo female voice. Look for audio effects. Oh, by the way, talking about effects, they now have these folders. So if you're looking for reverb, it's not one long list. You have to go into time and space, and then you'll find reverb as well as hybrid reverb. So you need to know your categories. Yeah. So you need to know what category reverb would fall under. So now I'll drag it in here. So hybrid reverb is a combination of convolution. So this is the convolution side of things. You get a bunch of convolution. There's going to be more. Right now I'm seeing very few impulse responses, but hopefully they're going to add a lot more impulse responses when it's released. So that's the convolution side of things. You see the actual impulse response. You can zoom into the impulse response. I don't know why, because you can't do anything about it, but you can look into it. Looks cool. Yay, yippee. And I guess it's stereo because you can see a ghosting blue thing in the background. And then at the same time, you also have algorithmic. So you can run both reverbs in series or serial, one after the other, or can be running parallel, both together, or you can just have one, right? Just algorithmic or just convolution. So let's do parallel, and there's a blend control. How much of either you want to hear? Let's actually hear it instead of me just talking. There's a vintage mode for the algorithmic side. And you get some pretty extreme aliasing when it's extremely vintage. Some people might like that. Yeah, that's cool. There's a freeze option. So you can just freeze your reverb. Very helpful. There's a bass mono. This is very helpful because you want your low frequencies to generally be mono. I wish that every plugin had that, where you can just mono all the low frequencies. You have that on the reverb, so all low frequencies below 180 hertz are going to be mono. So that's helpful. So that's kind of like a global feature that applies to the whole reverb. Overall stereo wide width, so you can make it mono, the whole thing mono. At 0%, 100% it's full stereo, or super stereo at 200%. Right, let me unfreeze the audio here. You get different algorithms, which is kind of nice. So on the old reverb, there was just one main algorithm. We get 5 different algorithms. I like shimmer because you have this cool pitch control. So the reverb is going to be pitched up or down depending on what you set over here. You can also pitch it down if you would like that, but it's going to get kind of muddy in the lower register, so kind of like the sound of it being pitched up. And you hear this a lot in pop production. You'll hear the reverb kind of, it sounds like just the reverb is pitched up, whereas the original is at the original octave. So that's the algorithmic side. That's the convolution side. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It sounds good. That's what I like about it. There's a pre-delay with feedback, so it's kind of like a delay, like an actual delay plugin. So let's see if I can. So I don't know if you hear the feedback. Maybe I'll increase it more. Let's get rid of the shimmer thing. So you hear that rhythmic movement because of the pre-delay and the feedback. And this pre-delay can be synced to project tempo. So this is something you may have seen. Logic users may have seen this in the Chromaverb, where there's a little button to synchronize the pre-delay to your project tempo, and you get these metric subdivisions. So yeah, so that's the hybrid reverb. There are some other new plugins. So this is one of the new ones. There's
Rishabh,
also the
super quickly.
Yeah.
So we had a question about what the EQ tab looks like from John. So
oh, the EQ tab looks like an EQ, right? So there's looks kind of like
That's
EQ8.
awesome. Yeah.
You have, unfortunately, it's not EQ8. It's kind of like EQ4, but it's still pretty decent. Each band you can adjust, right? So you can switch that to a shelving EQ or a high pass filter. Not each band. I think these two are fixed at parametric, but the lower and the higher can be switched out. So that's helpful. So let's say, you didn't have a bass. Sorry, yeah, that's a different thing. But yeah, if you want to cut out the bass frequencies, you can kind of do that with this little EQ here. So nice to have a pretty decent EQ. Even Q control can be very, very surgical with your reverb EQ here. Any other questions about the hybrid reverb?
Cool. John was also asking, pre-algo EQ is the input, or?
Yeah, so you basically, if I turn this on, you can see that in the help, it tells you that this sets the location of the processing chain where the EQ is added. So it can be pre or post the algorithmic reverb. So yeah, so that's kind of helpful. Convolution reverb. Shall we look at some of the other devices?
Yeah, sure. Maybe if folks don't mind staying on for a little bit more, we can, because we tried to keep this to an hour, but there's so many things in live. Maybe we could do like spectral resonator or like either time or resonator super quickly, maybe.
You know what? So those you probably have heard a lot about. Let's do the one that was just released yesterday.
Yeah. Let's do that.
The Max for Live.
Totally.
So there are actually a few more devices that are still in work in progress. We don't have access to those. The Inspired by Nature series. You may have seen snippets of it in the Ableton demo video. But we do have access to one new device. It's under PAX here. It's called Pitch Loop. It's made by Robert Henke. Pitch Loop. And it's a fun little plugin. You can do a lot of interesting creative things. So let's put it on that same vocal. I'm just going to play around with it and let's have a listen to this. So yeah, it sounds like a delay. There's feedback. You can adjust the pitch as well. Right, so it's a delay effect, but also a pitch shifter effect. But it's a stereo pitch shifter / delay. I can unlink them so I can have separate values for left or right. But what's even cool, it's called pitch loop, so you can also loop segments. So I set the driver to 100%. Now I've frozen that little segment of audio. I can choose the position that I want to listen to. You can see here visually it shows us which point in the audio we're listening to right now. On the left channel, let's link them both so both will move at the same time. And then you can adjust the overall frozen length or the loop length. Make it bigger or smaller. Make it really tiny, like little grain there. You can randomize the position. You can use an LFO to modulate the position. This bandwidth feature kind of emulates low sampling rate hardware devices, which also affects the overall, buffer size or the delay time. So at 5K, here's some aliasing. It sounds a bit weird, but also the delay time gets shorter. You can play it backwards, reverse the audio. You can add some vibrato. There's a basic filter here, low cut, high cut, kind of create like a bandpass effect. Yeah, so a lot of, it's kind of like a fun, creative tool here. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy that once you get access to Live 11.
Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about how can you get access to this. So if you already have Live 10, you can get the beta. And some of my students have been asking about, do I have to pay for the full version when it's out? So I was told that if you have purchased Live 10, let's say, in the past 30 days or so, you will automatically get Live 11. Yeah, you would have already received an email saying like, congratulations, here's your serial number, whatever for Live 11. But if it's if you bought it before 30 days, you can always reach out to them. Reach out to Ableton support, ask them about, I bought it a little while ago, can I still get the free upgrade? So yeah, that's kind of like on a case-by-case basis. So you'll have to talk to them.
They're very cool though about reaching out. I feel like sometimes people are either they're scared of reaching out or they're not sure if reaching out is like worth it or not, but you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So go ahead and email them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also if anyone just wants more general information, I'll put this in our Zoom chat. That's the link for the beta. Everyone has this information online, so you can look it up also if you're not in Zoom with us or if you're watching at a later time. But yeah, you can find out more info there if you haven't already received an email like Rishabh mentioned. Although if you do qualify, yes, you would already know about it. Cool. Any other questions in the Zoom for the Zoom folks who are with us at the moment, or thoughts, or maybe now you hate Live 11 if you've seen all the results. I'm just glad about comping and MPE. Those are I think my two top. I don't know if do you have any like two top favorites, Rishabh, or top few?
Well, the video thing was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. I really wish that, as a paying customer, I would have thought like, it'd be nice to have some new synths. And I'm a fan of synthesizers. And I was kind of disappointed that we don't have any synths, new synths.
Yeah, totally. I was actually hoping for that as well. I think maybe this might be like a halfway point, but there's a new pack that also we haven't had access to yet that's called Inspired by Nature, which maybe some of you might have also seen in their like What's New in Ableton Live 11 video that's on their YouTube channel. But there are a couple that seem to be interesting as far as like timbral shaping goes. Like there's one with like bouncy balls that's really cute. I think that also does affect like specific notes. It's a little similar to how actually the spectral resonator works at the moment. I think that's the vibe that I get from it. But yeah, I was hoping for a new instrument too, but maybe one that has like a better name than Wavetable, because they come up with cool names for their devices like electric or like collision, and then Wavetable is just what it is. Like it's so unexciting. No, I'm kidding, but like it's like sampler, Brian.
Sampler.
Yeah, see, simpler was so cool, right? It's like a simple sampler. Like how punny can you get? But sampler is just like sampler. I don't know. Maybe we need to be like Logic instead and be like quick sampler instead of no.
Now Maya had a question. Claire wanted to know what classes do you teach, Claire, in EPD?
Yeah. Sure. So maybe we can both talk about this, but I teach a lot of the private instruction for EDI. And I also teach, next semester, I will be teaching more performance-based stuff. So I'll be doing the vocal processing lab, and I'll also be doing, what else would I be doing? I think I'll be doing the electronic performance minor classes. So not necessarily for majors, but for like minor folks. Oh, that sounds strange. For people taking the minor, not minor. I know what that means. But yeah, so I do a lot of the PI stuff as well. And for this particular semester, I taught a lot of the live introduction classes too. So like MTech 213 and 214 for Logic. So some of my students are here. Thanks for coming, y'all. Yeah. Cool. Rishabh, how about you? What classes or students do you teach?
Oh my, what do I teach? So I teach mainly 200 level classes in EPD. So 2.5, which is control systems, where we talk about MIDI specification and working with external hardware synthesizers, integrating that with a DAW. I teach modular functions and signal flow, which is where we learn about synthesis, basics of synthesis. I teach advanced sound design, which is like the next class after that. And next semester, just like Claire, I'll be teaching PI as well. So it's going to be fun to be doing some PI with students. It's going to be interesting. I have been teaching some performance classes like the live looping lab. Maya was in that, the finger drumming lab. But yeah, should be fun to do some private lessons as well.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're teaching. And both of us are Ableton certified. I think like it's interestingly enough, we have like multiple CTs in Berklee. Loudon's also a CT.
Loudon, yeah.
Loudon's turns. I love Loudon so much. But he's doing a lot of interesting stuff with Berklee NYC now for their Live Experience Design Masters program. So he's going to be kind of over there. Maya, me wishing, no, EDI Prince, that's okay. You can still take lots of like fun classes like with Rishabh and with myself or just like in general. Rishabh actually has a really great, very under advertised course on the Berklee YouTube channel about EDI performance. That I wish more people would know about. So go ahead and check that out, everyone. That's a very cool video series.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. Yeah, we created that for, I guess, for people who want to get into Berklee with an EDI principle and they want to know, okay, what is the process? What do I need to do to audition? So those videos, that course, it's available for free on Coursera. So it'll kind of walk you through basics of finger drumming, basics of playing melodies, chord progressions, and stuff like that using your EDI.
Yeah,
I was going to say EDI instrument, but that'll be like twice instrument, so that doesn't make sense.
Actually,
but you get it.
Terminology wise, I've always thought about how to navigate that too. Sometimes I say EDI and sometimes I say like EDI system, but I have had like slipped before where I say like EDI instrument and it's like EDI, electronic digital instrument, which I guess works, but well.
It's like EDM music.
Yeah, I love EDM music. Oh,
ATM
right,
machine.
yeah.
You know what?
ATM
That's right.
machine. Oh
I always say ATM machine, even though M is machine. But yeah, I guess it doesn't matter.
Totally. It's totally a thing. Whoops.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Arvind, for coming. This is really fun
Thank
to
you.
do.
Thank you.
There are a lot of different other live events that go. Let me see if I can find. Yes, the link for this live 11 event. Find a live community event. So I know that we're all kind of, I guess, a little bit around the world now. So depending on where you are locally, there may or may be not a local event in your time zone or in your area, and even if you're not in that area, you can always sign up. So like I mentioned, the New York Ableton User Group is happening tomorrow. I'll be speaking more about a couple of other things there also, I think, or maybe some of the same things as well. But I hope this was a good general intro. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, take class with Brian too.
Yeah, thank you all. Yeah, Brian also has some awesome classes, so yeah, go check out Brian's classes, and everybody else in the EPD department.
Totally. And also John, thanks for being here, John. John teaches the songwriting stuff. So yeah, John.
Oh, cool. That's
but
awesome.
Yeah, totally. Thanks everyone for coming. Oh, my camera just died. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
No, it's okay. I'm still over here. But yeah, this will be perfect timing. This means we have to go. My camera's already telling us to leave. So thanks so much again, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks also for the YouTube folks who were tuning in, who weren't necessarily in the Berklee community. But we will see all of you again hopefully soon. So bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Igor, thank you. Bye-bye.
Cool. The stream on YouTube has ended, so we can still